in what could potentially be one of the largest firm commercial aviation orders in modern Russian history. Russian carrier S7 Airlines, in its in-house magazine, has announced its intention to acquire 100 domestically produced Tu-214 passenger aircraft. The proposed agreement, which is currently being negotiated with the State Transport Leasing Company, or GTLK, and manufacturer United Aircraft Corporation, is significantly more than a straightforward fleet purchase. It is a strategic test to determine whether Russia's civil aviation industry can re-establish large-scale aircraft production in the face of severe pressure on supply chains, industrial constraints, and sanctions. The technical requirements for the aircraft are presently being finalized by the parties, according to GTLK chief Mikhail Parnev. Financing structures and delivery schedules will be determined following the end of that process in the latter half of the year. A definite contract for the first batch and options for the remaining aircraft are anticipated to be signed by the end of the year. And this is where the story suddenly gets much bigger than just airplanes. The Tu-214 program has historically operated at exceptionally low production volumes, which is why the scale of the deal is remarkable. The Kazan Aviation Plant has predominantly built specialized government and military variants for the majority of the past 2 decades, as opposed to a significant number of commercial airliners. An industrial transformation that is unparalleled in post-Soviet Russian civil aviation would be necessary to transition from a production rate of only a handful of aircraft per year to the fulfillment of a 100-aircraft airline order. Honestly, this is the kind of announcement that sounds almost impossible the first time you hear it. Russia is essentially trying to rebuild an entire civilian aircraft manufacturing ecosystem while under sanctions and while simultaneously managing military aerospace production. That is not a small engineering task. And Altitude Addicts has noticed that even within Russia, there is growing debate over whether these timelines are realistic. So now, let us move into the anatomy of the proposed agreement itself. The structure that has been suggested demonstrates the level of caution with which the Russian state and the airline are approaching the project. It is expected that the initial agreement shall include a formal contract for the first purchase of aircraft. A firm contract is legally binding in the aviation industry and establishes delivery schedules, technical specifications, and pricing conditions. In addition, it is expected that S7 will secure options for the remaining aircraft. This arrangement grants the airline priority access to production schedules without necessitating an immediate financial commitment for the entire fleet. The configuration divide between early and later aircraft is one of the most noteworthy aspects. According to reports, the first 10 Tu-214 will use the outdated cockpit configuration, which necessitates a 3-person crew, including a flight engineer. The remaining aircraft will be designed in a modernized 2-pilot layout that is consistent with the operating standards of international airlines. This distinction is economically significant. The additional personnel and training requirements of a 3-crew cockpit result in an increase in airline operating costs. Efficiency advantages are the main reason why modern commercial aviation overwhelmingly favors 2-pilot operations. S7's willingness to accept older 3-crew aircraft at the outset implies that the airline is prioritizing delivery speed over operational perfection during the program's initial phases. And there is something slightly ironic here. Russia is trying to project an image of a next-generation independent aviation industry, but the first aircraft may still rely on cockpit practices that much of the world moved away from decades ago. That does not necessarily make the aircraft unsafe, but it does show how difficult and uneven this transition could become. The agreement also underscores the critical role of Russian state financing mechanisms. Unlike the financing of Western commercial aircraft purchases through private leasing firms and international capital markets, the acquisition of the Tu-214 will be heavily dependent on state-backed leasing through GTLK. This is indicative of the financial constraints imposed by sanctions and Russia's diminished access to Western aerospace financing systems. Which naturally brings us to the next question. Why exactly does S7 need Russian-built aircraft in the first place? S7's interest in the Tu-214 is partially motivated by necessity. Before the imposition of sanctions, Russian airlines significantly depended on Boeing and Airbus aircraft. Airbus A320 family jets and Boeing aircraft comprised one of the most modern Western-built fleets in Russia, operated by S7. Nevertheless, sanctions implemented after 2022 disrupted access to spare parts, maintenance support, software updates, and future deliveries. Although Russian airlines have continued to operate Western aircraft through parallel imports and cannibalization strategies, the long-term sustainability of their fleets remains questionable. Therefore, domestic alternatives, including the MC-21, SJ-100, and Tu-214, have emerged as strategically critical options. Securing 100 Tu-214s is essentially an insurance policy against extended isolation from Western aviation markets for S7. And in a strange way, this entire situation has pushed Russia into reviving aircraft programs that many people thought would remain niche or symbolic. So let us now talk about the aircraft itself, because the Tu-214 is not exactly new. In fact, the airplane traces its roots back to the Soviet era. The Tu-214 is a modernized derivative of the Tu-214 family, which was originally developed during the late Soviet period as a competitor to aircraft such as the Boeing 757 and Airbus A321. The narrow-body, medium-range twin-engine jet is intended for routes that connect major Russian cities and regional destinations. Depending on the configuration of the cabin, the seating capacity typically falls within the range of 180 to 210 passengers. Depending on the payload and variant, the aircraft's operational range stretches from approximately 6,500 to 7,200 kilometers. The Tu-214 is equipped with PS-90A turbofan engines developed in Russia. Although these engines are dependable, they are generally regarded as less fuel-efficient than the modern Western engines powering contemporary Airbus and Boeing narrow-body aircraft, such as the CFM LEAP or Pratt & Whitney GTF series. This creates one of the aircraft's biggest commercial hurdles. The Tu-214 may satisfy Russia's sovereignty objectives, but matching global airline economics is another matter entirely. Increased fuel consumption means increased operating expenses, especially on competitive routes. And airlines notice that very quickly, because fuel costs can decide whether a route makes money or quietly bleeds cash every single month. Nevertheless, Russian officials contend that operational efficiency will improve through modernized avionics and import-substituted systems. The updated Tu-214 was reportedly approved for significant design modifications in late 2025, including new Russian-built avionics and safety systems. Collision avoidance technologies and terrain warning systems, previously dominated by Western suppliers globally, are among the newly localized systems. Russian officials have portrayed this as a major technological sovereignty achievement. Altitude Addicts has observed that Moscow increasingly frames these aviation programs not merely as commercial projects, but as proof that Russia can technologically decouple from the West in strategic sectors. But then we arrive at the central issue. Can Russia actually build these aircraft at the speed being promised? The real question regarding the S7 order is not whether Russia has the capability to design the aircraft. The question is whether Russia can truly produce 100 of them within a reasonable time frame. According to the latest evidence, this will be exceedingly challenging. The Kazan Aviation Plant, the Tu-214's primary production site, has historically produced between 1 and 3 aircraft annually. In contrast to commercial airliner mass production, much of its recent work has focused on military programs, strategic bomber modernization, and special purpose government aircraft. Russian officials have ambitious plans to significantly increase production. Industry forecasts suggest 4 aircraft in 2025, 7 in 2026, 17 in 2027, and up to 28 aircraft annually from 2028 onward. Other official statements are slightly more conservative, with an estimated 20 aircraft to be delivered annually by the end of 2027 or by 2028 to 2029. Red Wings Airlines, a Rostec company, has already placed official orders for these planes in the 3-crew cockpit version. Even under the most optimistic scenario, fulfilling a 100-aircraft order could still take nearly a decade unless production expands further. And this is where things begin to feel less like a normal airline procurement story and more like a national industrial mobilization effort. Because the deeper you go into the reports surrounding Kazan, the more bottlenecks start appearing. Assembly capacity is not the only problem. Modernization is required across the entire industrial ecosystem. Multiple Russian reports indicate that the Kazan Aviation Plant is facing workforce constraints, contractor shortages, and delays in infrastructure upgrades. Certain reports claim contractors failed to respond to government tenders for critical factory modernization projects worth billions of rubles. These projects included specialized radio-technical measurement facilities and production infrastructure required for higher assembly rates. Other reports suggest that delivery schedules for commercial Tu-214 aircraft may be directly linked to the completion of modernization work scheduled for 2026 to 2027. Another major issue is labor shortages. Russian aviation manufacturing lost substantial engineering talent during decades of low post-Soviet production volumes. Rebuilding that workforce is not something that can happen overnight. According to reports from 2025, the plant struggled to achieve even modest annual production goals because of staffing shortages. And then there is the military factor. The Kazan facility is heavily involved in strategic bomber projects, including upgrades and production work connected to the Tu-160 program. That means commercial aircraft production could end up competing directly with military priorities for labor, tooling, factory space, and engineering attention. This next part is important because it really defines the entire story. Can Tupolev actually fulfill these obligations? From a purely industrial perspective, Russia probably can deliver 100 Tu-214s over an extended period. The country still retains a significant engineering base, manufacturing heritage, and state financing capability. But timing remains the far bigger issue. If production stabilizes at around 20 aircraft annually by the late 2020s, the S7 order could theoretically be fulfilled during the 2030s. However, that assumes modernization succeeds, suppliers remain stable, financing continues uninterrupted, and no additional industrial disruptions emerge. The program's history suggests caution is necessary. Since 2022, Russia has repeatedly revised civil aviation production targets downward. Delays linked to sanctions, component substitution, certification challenges, and supply chain pressures have impacted multiple aircraft programs, including the MC-21 and SJ-100. The Tu-214 does possess one major advantage over newer aircraft programs. It is already an operational aircraft with decades of service history. That significantly lowers certification risks. The platform itself is proven. The real challenge is scaling production to industrial levels that Russia has not achieved in commercial aviation since the Soviet era. And maybe that is the most fascinating part of this whole story. Russia is not merely trying to build airplanes here. It is attempting to recreate an industrial ecosystem that partially disappeared after the collapse of the Soviet Union. That is an enormous undertaking, even without sanctions, geopolitical tensions, and economic pressure. Ultimately, the S7 Tu-214 agreement is about far more than aviation. For the Kremlin, the deal symbolizes industrial resilience under sanctions. Russia's leadership increasingly frames aviation independence as a matter of national sovereignty, comparable to energy or defense production. Yet commercial realities still matter enormously for airlines like S7. Passenger comfort, fuel efficiency, maintenance costs, and operational reliability will determine whether the Tu-214 becomes a viable long-term fleet backbone or simply a politically necessary stopgap. If the initiative succeeds, Russia could gradually rebuild an autonomous civil aviation ecosystem centered around domestic aircraft. If it struggles, airlines may remain dependent on aging Western fleets for much longer than originally anticipated. Either way, the acquisition of 100 Tu-214 aircraft represents one of the most ambitious attempts yet to revive Russia's post-Soviet commercial aviation industry on a genuinely mass production scale. And for altitude addicts, this story is really about watching whether modern Russia can turn aerospace ambition into industrial reality. We thank the people who have liked, subscribed the channel, and shared the videos. We also thank the channel membership for encouraging us. Last but not least, we also thank the viewers who have hyped our videos.